All right, here we're gonna square up a block using a bar and the back jaw, which is a solid square jaw. This is out of pretty out around. I've taken the burrs off, which you should do. And you pick the best side, no burrs. Put that against the soft hard jaws. I'm not going to use a parallel right off because I want it down as deep as I can to get a good bite on that. This is the worst side, so I'm putting that up first to take the pass. This bar I'm going to put in, I kind of put it near, maybe 2/3 up on it. The idea is it's a single point of contact on this side which will push it against the hard jaw. And if this is really out of square this side, it might influence and it might cant it a bit. So this won't be square with this. So when you do this, it's pushing this side against that solid jaw, which is with these new Kurt Vices should be nice and square. Make sure it's tight. I've got it most of the way up. I'm going to bring it down a bit. Further up, the more rigid this machine is. As you can see, it's out a bit, so I can actually bring this ram back a bit to strengthen up, because I am going to take not little baby cuts. Strengthen that up, stiffen that up in there, because you got lots of room on this wide top on the saddle. Right parts: the table, the saddle, the knee, the column. Now this is a carbide cutter. It should be able to take 1,000. It's a 2.5-inch diameter. And make sure it's good and tight, and back a bit, which means the head is tilted slightly that way. If it was pretty flat, perfectly flat, it will cut on the front, it'd probably drag on the back and leave tear marks. Clean that up a bit. That's not fully clean. At this point, you can clean up 100% if you want. If you want to leave some on in case you're close, you're not the size yet, but you don't have a lot to come off, you can use that now as your square side, which we will do. So this comes out, and I'm going to take that burr off. I'm going to get a file. If the burr is a big one, I usually kind of like a knife and just whittle it off like that, and then you can take it off. I know I'm using my thumb. If it's a sharp part, you're going to cut yourself. That would be your judgment. After a lot of years, your thumb gets kind of tough anyways. So now, this side is going to go against this. And this saw cut, you don't know if it's perfectly square. So now I can put my small parallels in, not the large ones, because you don't want it sticking up here. You want it down as much contact with the jaws as possible. And these are even a little bit too high. I'm going to turn them sideways and bring them down that far. They're usually not ground in that square that way, but for this, until I get most of it taken into square, you can see it rise right there. You see that rise? That's pushing this against here. So this side's square. Now this one side will be square to that. It's square to that, because you can see it pop up. You can push. Don't hit it with a hammer at this point, because you're going to knock it back out of square. So now I'll go this way and back so that the cutter is climbing into that edge and not giving me a big heavy burr. The other way, there'll be a big burr hanging over there. And I'm actually pushing against the hard jaw and not against this jaw, the moving jaw, with a little piece of steel holding it in place. This is where a shop coat comes in handy. Keep some chips off here. And when you're done cutting, if you just keep it a nice even steady pace across, you'll get a fine finish. If you speed it up, you'll see longer distance between those lines, and it won't look as pretty. Now, I am going to be cutting against this side, but it's not as big a cut, and that would be up to you to decide. But right now, it's hardly any cutting pressure, and it's cutting fine. As you can see, the cutter is not dragging on that side, so it is tilted slightly that way, out of square. But I usually leave it a little bit out of square for a cutter like this, so that now you have no lines on there. Now this side and this side are perfectly square. This will go down and this will go against the back again. And now, clean your chips out. Now you can actually put this down if you want, parallel down. Just like the video on the surface plate, slide it back and forth. If there's a chip under there, it will knock it out, or you'll feel it. Now, you can do this one more time. Now here's the point where you can pound it down a bit, because the bottom is supposed to be square with this face. So you still got a little bit of movement here, and you snug the device up enough that it'll go down when you hit it, and enough that it will not come back up. So don't start whacking on it like you're driving a fence post in. If you put your thumb here, you can feel it drop down. Now that's locked up, and that has a little bit of play. Not as much as it was. I can still feel it vibrating here, so it's not perfectly square here to here. Unless these are ground in, you're not gonna get these parallels. Unless you got a good set. So right now, that's close enough to getting it all square around, and then once it's all square, then you can lose this and you can concentrate on bringing it in to size. Now this is sticking a long ways up, and I am going to really take a cut big enough to clean that up. And once we're done, I'll show you the size of cut this slide cutter, and I actually do this all in one hit now. Be right back. Grab a square. So at this point, I'm gonna, you know the old saying, do as I do, not as I say. This time I should say do as I say, because before doing anything, have all your tools with you. I didn't have them this time. I should have had my hammer, should have had the square. Before a job, you can line everything up, look at the drawing, and you need this, I need this, I need this. Have it all ready, because if you're working in a big plant and you're a quarter mile away from the tool crib, you really want to get everything at once. Unless you don't mind getting paid to watch. 3-side square, and you can, there's no gap there, it's square. There's still material come off here. Now I have 3-side square, I can put this down. Slide them in, make sure there's no burrs. Burrs, it's gonna mess it right up. I'm gonna flip it around so I got 100% here hanging on to it. That little gap will come out after. Now, you notice this is moving, this isn't. Now, this is down square, this is slightly out of square. I got the wrong side down, don't I? So that'll do it. Now, dark side up. Let's see. Now they don't move. It's down square. If you still just bring it in square first, so just another light pass to finish this off. How many did you notice I had it upside down there? Now I'm going to do a series of cuts and show you what this cutter can actually do. Show you how the heavier the cut, the better the finish. The heavier cut, the heat goes into the chip and not your part, which is the idea behind a carbide tool. That all goes into the chip. So if you can confirm that side's square and that side is square, we don't really have a number to work to here, but I'm just gonna, once again, a tap. Get out of the way, get on it. I always have my finger because you can feel it move. There, now they're not moving. So you've seen that those are about 10 thou passes I was doing. So that's 10, 10, 20, 30, 40. That's 60 thou. It should be no problem. The only thing is you gotta have your arms covered up. It's a little hot. That was 60. I'll try 100. I'm gonna roll my sleeves down a bit though. And you can actually redirect those chips. If you pull the cutter this way more, they're going to shoot them more out there. You'll notice. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Let's try that. It might make a lot of noise, a little bit more noise. If you go slow, you might start squealing, speed it up a bit, and lights faster free rate. So your projects, you should be able to, if you lay them out because when you start pulling metal down that fast, you might get a little carried away and start thinking about something. The next thing you know, you've gone way past your line. You can bring a part down pretty fast. You get it done pretty fast. Now that big burr, this is what I mean. You take it and almost like carve it like a knife. Take it right off, and now you can just take the other one right off. Go in both directions so it's folded right over like stroking a blade. Always take the burr off because it will throw your number off, and that's. Now as for this, you can just hang on here and end mill it this way if that vise is dialed in, clocked in perfectly, or you can put it here and put that square up against it. But the first way is, and you'll see light through there and bring it in. The first way gets you dead square. Once that's square, now you can put it down and cut that. And that's a block squared up. These work really well. There's other ones in there. They will not take 100 thou pass, but this one is designed to do that. They're also good. They're 45, so you can also get a nice, if you wanted, a chamfer. These chamfer quite nicely, these tools. And I should go on the other side so you can see. And I'm going to climb mill, but it'll give me a better finish. But I'm going to crank from the other side because it's going to be all the way. You have that like that, that'll 45 that all the way down. I'm klein milling and it'll give me a better finish. Just make sure it's tight, because if it isn't, it's going to try to pull that part right out of the place. And you can see the 45 there. If you're trying to, honestly, if you're trying to make a nice 45, I'll show you a little trick. Use the back, it's solid. If I just take this side, you won't be able to see it, but this is the way to do it. Turn on, come across. Lock off your Y and just leave it like that. So now you can have a chamfer all the way around, or not. What I am is I'm a little too deep and it's leaving a ledge, but I'll get rid of that. Now you just take this out, pull it around, put it back in. It's going to do the exact same side on that. This is going to be a klein mill. It's going to be heavy. So on the Y-axis, snug it up a bit, because if you don't, it's going to keep pulling you along. If you snug it up a bit, once you start cutting, now you can do the other way on the ends. It'll be the same number, because it's against that back stop is like a solid stop now, and you don't have to move anything else again, as long as it's all going in the same direction. Now that parallel is not sitting quite as flat because these ends haven't been ground in yet, so we're just gonna show you. And you can see how it's making a nice 45 all the way around. And like I said, the ends aren't square, and I'm going to do a heavy climb here, so I'm making sure everything's Now, because of the situation, we have to film this. We're filming this kind of quick, and if anyone sees any problems or mistakes, I am sure you're going to let us know. But let us know so I know. I'm just hoping I was safe, following my own practices. I got all my digits, so I haven't cut any fingers off yet. So there's you can 45 that. If you have a bunch of parts, you can whip them up pretty fast. That cutter works well. There's a chip on there. So that's all squared up, and a 45. If you wanted to keep going, you can put that in all the way. You can do a 45 all the way around the whole part, because you already have your size set. Well, this size. Okay, that's it.